2022 has come and gone. That was my second full calendar year of selling on Amazon. I've been doing it for almost 3 years now. And I have written down 9 major turning points in my business. And when I say turning points, I basically did just under $300,000 in sales in 2021. I did just under $600,000 in sales in 2022. And my goal is to do a million in 2023. And looking back, these to me are huge turning points, inflection points, whatever you want to call them. And I want to share them with you. And by the way, there's a lot more than this, but these to me really stood out, and in no particular order. First up, Prep Center. Okay. I am such an advocate for doing everything yourself early on: sourcing, packing, prepping, repricing, everything. Because if you're not good at something or adequate, how can you teach others or expect others to be? However, it does come to a point, though, that me spending time, hours and hours every week prepping and packing wasn't beneficial anymore. And especially when I moved to North Carolina this year, where it's not a sales tax free state, now I'm paying sales tax on anything that gets shipped to me. So I knew it was a turning point. I started to get frustrated with the prepping and packing, and I was starting to scale. And so what I did was use my mom in Florida, where they're tax free on grocery and like vitamins and supplements. And I found another prep center to do some part-time stuff for me as well that's sales tax free. And then I still continue to do some of them myself, because some things you want to turn around quickly, or it just doesn't make sense, like bundles, for instance, and things like that. So that, though, was huge, because it's not just about having more time and money to spend on making money on sourcing, which is the most high value task, no doubt about it. It is a lot about that, but it's not just about that. It also gave me free time to want to source more, even if I didn't add more sourcing to my plate. I was getting so frustrated of like, I should be sourcing, or I'm just tired of this. I'm tired of packing. So getting a prep center, also not just giving them all of my products, but slowly and surely doing it. Same with my mom, and me continuing to do some has changed my business, because it's given me hours back. And more than that, the mental headache and stress and physical space that products take up in your home. So that's one. As soon as it makes sense for you, especially in a non-sales tax-free state, I'm all for a prep center. It's going to give you a lot of time back. And I am now scaling more. So I am going to be able to spend more time on sourcing and things that I enjoy. All right. That really moved the needle. So prepping is number one. Number two is using Keep Up Product Finder. I'm sure we've all heard of reverse sourcing, manual sourcing. I came across someone who really kind of expedited this process for me, and you should follow him. I'm actually going to interview him. I don't know if this is going to come out before or after that, but he goes by OA Deals. His name is Dave. And it really opened my eyes to finding different products in Keep Us Product Finder. You can do so many different filters for out of stock items or things Amazon's not selling, manipulate it so it has this sales rank, or it's trending in this direction. It has the word 2-pack in it. Whatever it is, it has been huge for me. And it's probably my number one way that I go into manual sourcing, is by first using Keep Up Product Finder. And that has drastically changed my business and my sourcing 100%. And I'm going to only get stronger and stronger and stronger with it. But like, just using an example, out of stock, I can filter it so it's only products that Amazon doesn't have in stock, no new seller has in stock, sales rank less than 200,000 in this category or for this brand. And then if I can find that, naturally, I know I'm going to be able to charge a premium because nobody else has it, right? And so that's one huge example. I like the out of stock, and Keep Up Product Finder as a whole was a game changer for my sourcing. Number three, what just passed, Q4. I've always heard everybody talk about this, and I've experienced two Q4s, but my first one I was only a couple months in. The second year I was only doing retail arbitrage. I really got a taste for it. I did 80K in sales, just under that, in December. And prior to that, my best month ever was 56,000, which was in November. Okay, so it just really opened my eyes that it's real. Also, that you don't have to get into categories you're not familiar with, but to triple down on ones you do, because the velocity is going to be there. And also, the freaking amount of sales and discounts that happen between Thanksgiving and Christmas is insane. Basically, any winning product that you have over the course of time will be heavily discounted, whether it be through cashback, combined with discount, sale, whatever. that it creates such an opportunity to sell these well beyond the holidays, by the way. So just the discounted opportunity that time of year, Q4 is legit, and it really, really opened my eyes. And I'm excited for next year. I have lofty goals for Q4 next year. Next up, a huge, huge part of my business growth, I think, was rather than just sourcing when I feel like sourcing, I decided I am a morning person. That's when I'm at my sharpest, and sourcing is my most important task. I changed my schedule so that I would get up at like 5, go to the gym, and be at a local coffee shop by 7 o'clock. So, a couple of things here. I never want to tell people you should be an early person, late person. Doesn't matter. I'm just telling you what works for me. Okay. I'm not on some high horse. It works for me. I'm a morning person. And I like going to different coffee shops because my mind, at first, I need to get out of the house every day. And second, my juices just get flowing when I'm in a different environment, different scenery. And first thing in the morning, I've worked out, I've had some coffee. Like that's when I'm at my best. And I'll schedule at least, I shouldn't say at least, probably 2 hours every day and just focused. And one thing I've learned is that one, by doing it every day, for one, you're really proud of yourself on the consistency note. But for two, consistency really compounds. Everything I did on Monday, I remember, and that carries over to Tuesday and into Wednesday and Thursday and so on and so forth, instead of just doing a couple hours here, a couple hours there. I plan them, I block them off, and first thing in the morning, I'm uninterrupted. That's my highest value task, making me the most money. That's what I'm doing and carving out basically every single day. And it's changed my business. I swear by it. The consistency play is so strong. All right. Carve time out to specifically source, put the phone away, and just dive deep. Okay. Deep work is another thing that's just like, I truly believe we only have so much attention span in a day and laser focus. Do your highest value task when you're at your best, right? Next is a spending budget. And this kind of piggybacks off of what I just talked about. But rather than just sourcing and saying, okay, I'll buy things when I find them, a spending budget is really important, whether you do it weekly, monthly, a simple Excel sheet, whatever. The reason for that is because after you do this for a while, you can reverse engineer how much you're going to make. So for instance, if I want to make, if let's just say I know over time my profit margin is 10% as a round number, and my goal is to make $10,000 a month. Well, that means that I have to do $100,000 in sales every month. So then how much do I have to spend to achieve that? And typically the number is around 2. It's like a 2x multiplier. So I'd have to spend 50 to do 100K in sales for like normal OA margins. But really simply, you can also go back into your history and like inventory lab and whatever. What were my cost of goods sold in this month? And what were my sales in that month? And then you just divide them and you get your multiplier basically. So you can reverse engineer how much you have to spend. And this way, if you say, hey, every product I buy is going to have 30% ROI and I spend X amount this month, you already kind of have a good idea of what type of profit you're going to make. Now, it's never perfect and things change, but instead of just aimlessly blinding and buying, this gives you more structure and keeps you on your track. Okay. Also helps with cash flow big time too. Another big turning point for me was I knew I was moving. I went from Florida, where I did retail arbitrage in South Florida. It was great for RA, but I didn't want to be dependent on a geography or location. And I knew I was moving to North Carolina, where it wasn't nearly as populated. And so what I did was I started to source every single morning, kind of like what I do now and what I talked about, but just going item by item by item on products that were working for me. I'd literally go to a site and type in keywords in inventory lab of every single product of a brand that had worked for me in the vitamin and supplements. And that just opened my eyes to how much was out there. And even if the point is this, if you don't know what you're looking for, if you just put in the reps and you manually source, you will find winning products. And then it's just brick by brick by brick. And I remember those early mornings, 6 o'clock, waking up, pouring coffee, not even knowing if I would find anything. And it has paid off because then you have this confidence that, oh yeah, the products are out there. If I continue to do this and continue to do this, good things are going to happen. And they do. One thing that happened to me that wasn't on the bright side was getting a couple cease and desist letters. And it was for the vitamins and supplement categories. And everyone has different strategies. But for me, it was like, this seems pretty official. I got other people's advice. I didn't want to push the limits because I think Amazon is such a great opportunity and there's so many other products to buy. But the problem was I had put so many eggs in these two brands' baskets, and I got cease and desist in like back-to-back months, and it opened my eyes. I can't have a catalog or a business dependent so heavily on one or two or three brands or specific items. Yeah, ride them as long as you can, but if they go away, because there's a good chance eventually some things will be taken away or the course will run dry on them being profitable, you still want to have a successful business. And that happening to me really opened my eyes. Even though it's nice to have replans and to fall back on that, always be finding new products and new brands and new categories, and you will thank yourself later because it's inevitable that things like this happen. Tracking my products. Next up, I can't vouch for this enough. I was doing it sloppily, if that's a word. And then I started doing it a little bit tighter. And in 2023, I am super bullish on it. And for a couple of reasons. Anything you've bought, I think that's pretty obvious because there's a good chance you can buy it again. But even things that are out of stock, all you do is make a simple page where maybe it's the description and you link it to a page so that you can click a button and see if it's back in stock. It takes seconds. And if you do, you're going to be one of the first ones to market, charging a premium, good sales. But also products that aren't as profitable as they need to be at the time, but are close enough because in Q4, there will be times that you can get these at such a discount. A lot of these products will probably make sense. And if a lot of people come across these too and they didn't make sense for them and they're not tracking them, well, now you have a super competitive advantage. I always say you've already done the hard part when you come across products. Take the extra 5 seconds, create an Excel sheet or a Google sheet for it. And there will be one or two times a year that you should revisit these because I bet you there will be enough meat on the bone at some point in time. You've already done the hard part. And for me, tracking, it's become so clear to me, and it makes your life easier, and you can track your inventory and what you paid for it. It just saves so much time and headache and gives you a competitive advantage. Number 9, you'll hear this all the time, is networking with other Amazon sellers. And I've come to kind of realize, yes, it is about asking questions and getting advice, and people are very happy to do that. But also, frankly, a lot of people share leads. And if you've already, if I've put in the hard work and there's plenty of opportunity to share them, if I give somebody 5 today and they give me 5 tomorrow, that's a couple hundred, maybe a couple $1,000 profit if you do that a couple of times a month without really having to do any extra work. And people don't come out and say that, but that happens all the time. So having people that you can bounce things off of, share their content, enjoy their content, whatever it is, those connections really do go a long way. I've made a couple friendly connections, and if nothing else, it's just nice to know they're at my level of my business and they've probably encountered things that I haven't encountered and vice versa. And I'm not just in this alone. So it's really nice to grow your network. You'll hear that a lot. And so for me, those were all major inflection points in my business and really helped propel me to where I am today. And the more I do this, the more I realize I'm just scratching the surface. So if I'm learning those things in 2022, I only can imagine the new things I'm going to encounter and learn and be able to compound into 2023. Appreciate you guys being here. I'm Jonathan. Duke Does Amazon. We're on Instagram. Also, the audio version of a lot of these YouTube videos is on Spotify. Duke Does Amazon podcast. Questions, comments, topics, let me know. Have a great day, and I will talk to you guys soon. Take care.